What is happening, friends? How is it sounding before we go ahead and... Jordan, can you close the door? Before we go ahead and get into it, let me know how it sounds, please. I'm not trying to get interrupted or whatever. And also drop in the chat. How y'all doing? Let me know. Hola. Hola, hola, hola. I mean, you saw the title. You know what we here for, right? I'm excited. I mean, I'm seeing dislikes already. People mad already? Interesting. It must mean that this topic is one for the books, right? It's something that we need to talk about. People are already mad. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and get into it. Jojo.
What's going on, peoples?
Right.
I know what time it is.
Oh my goodness. I looked at the dislikes. I said, dang, people mad already. But I don't know. I think
Why are they mad?
they're hurt. They're real butthurt about this topic. But I think it's interesting. I think it's something that, you know, needs to be talked about. Because at this point, we got a whole bunch of alpha women.
That doesn't exist.
Alpha women. Quote unquote.
Actually, they do exist.
I think that I honestly, you know what? It's a thing. It's a thing that's happening. It's 2021. Women are out here. They're making money. A woman could get on the internet and make $5,000 in a night.
That's so beta.
What do you mean is beta?
For a girl to do that, because there's no way you can do that unless you start a business. Unless you like Fenty, Rihanna. If you're just selling your body, then you're beta.
The woman is beta?
Yes.
Why is the woman beta?
Because she's not living in her feminine energy. I think for her to be alpha, she has to be alpha in the sense of being a woman, not alpha in the sense of being a man.
We're talking about in the 2021 sense of being a woman.
I could care less about that.
In the 2021 sense of being a woman, because I think at this point, many women are so delusional that we have to talk to them in their language. We can't talk about what happened in the past because apparently the past doesn't exist. It doesn't exist to anybody. If it's not happening, if you can't see it in this moment, in reality, then we can't talk about it. It's just like, what you talking about? Why we not even there no more? We're in 2021. So let's talk about 2021 women. Let's talk about it. You could get on, you know, OF and make $5,000 in a night. That's something that many women can do.
That's beta.
Okay. It could be beta, whatever. But either way, though, if you find yourself making this much money in a year, who freaking knows how much money? Didn't Bad Baby, that whatever her name is,
Yeah,
she on her 18th birthday or whatever, from my understanding, she made an OF and made thousands and thousands of dollars in one day. So women are making all of this money and then they expect to be with a man who's making equal that.
Beta. That's so beta. Because here's why I say it's beta. If you really, okay, it's like they're half and half. Like you're halfway feminine because it's feminine to even want a man who makes just as much as you. But then you're halfway alpha by chasing the bag. So you have like half feminine traits and half masculine traits. To me, that's automatic beta. You can't even be fully alpha, be the full breadwinner.
Part of me wouldn't really say that it's, I guess it could be feminine, but also if you're making that much money as a woman, I think, like from our perspective, you're thinking, okay, well, you would want somebody making equal that, not because in this moment you're choosing to be in your femininity, but because you may not want to like take care of anybody. If you're making that much money and you don't really understand what a man really wants or whatever, you're thinking that, all right, I'm making this much money at this point, so my man has to make
That's beta.
that
That's
much
beta.
or equal.
That's just woman stuff.
Whatever.
That's literally woman stuff. No man would ever say that.
I wouldn't say no man
No alpha man would ever say that.
would say that. Maybe like no alpha man, but
So
men
then
who
they're
aren't.
beta. An alpha woman is basically a beta man.
What?
You gotta think. You gotta think. What is an alpha man?
Alpha man, somebody. I mean, I don't know. How would you describe an alpha man? You're
An
a guy.
alpha man. Okay, to me, an alpha man is someone who makes enough to where he doesn't need a woman to pay anything. Like unless like they live together, he doesn't need her to pay anything for him. He doesn't need her protection. He doesn't really need her for anything except for like children and stuff. He doesn't need her for anything. That's an alpha man.
I think an alpha man though could also be somebody like you don't have to be making millions and millions of dollars to be an alpha male. Like you don't have to be doing that either. You can provide still without making that much money. Fact of the matter is, because I was talking to my boyfriend about this, and he said that like many people, especially, you know, in our country, many of us, we live above our means. But if we live like there, we could really have a comfortable lifestyle if we weren't living like so far above our means. Like a man could be making $50,000, but if you're living within that and you're making like good financial decisions for your family, then that is you being a provider and that is you making smart decisions. And if you're doing that, your family could be comfortable while you're living within your means. But if you're making that $50,000 and you're acting like you're one of these rappers making millions of dollars a year, whatever, or however much money rappers make, whatever, or basketball players, then...
What are you talking about, Benai?
Huh?
What does this have to do with alpha man?
I'm just saying, you can be an alpha male without making a ton of money.
Yeah, basically an alpha man is a leader who doesn't need anybody for anything. The thing when it comes to women is that they can never be alpha in that sense, ever. Because they're always going to need a man to protect them. And they always going to want a man to protect them. An alpha man will never even desire that.
That is true, but I think that's one thing that women are trying to battle against at this point. It's we're on the road where it's like...
They can't battle it.
We're on the road where it's like, I don't need you. I don't need no man. I don't need you here because I'm making my own money. I got my own car. I got my own house. What would I need you for? And then you do end up, let's say this woman with this attitude or perspective towards life does end up getting a man. He comes in and he can't tell you anything. He can't tell you nothing. He can't tell you really how, if you're doing something, that criticism or whatever that he could give you turns out to be really, you get really defensive about it. Because in your head, you're already winning. You're the prize. The woman is the prize in the situation. So how dare you tell me that I need to fix something about myself when...
Women are basically the prize. If you think of a prize as a trophy, like if you think of what's the prize in the NBA trophy. LeBron still wins it, but that's the prize. They're like the prize. They go to the winners.
They go to the winner. Wow. So women are the prize and men are the winners?
Yeah. Because they don't go to losers.
I guess, unless you're talking about, I don't know, when we're talking about like modern women, whatever, would we talk about women settling? Because...
What do you mean? A winner can have multiple prizes.
And then we get into, what, polygamous relationships. If a man, okay, let's say that you're this amazing alpha male. The alpha male that, whatever, you're this amazing alpha male where like 5% of women want you, whatever. At that point, is it acceptable for you to have multiple prizes?
Acceptable in what sense? Like, okay, let's think of this from like a logical perspective. If you're an alpha male and you fit 95% of women's qualifications, logically speaking, if you wanted to date multiple women, you can, because you fit all of their standards. There's nothing your woman can tell you, because the chances of her finding a new guy that fits you is very, very rare. I didn't say it was morally correct, but if you really think about it, why wouldn't they do it? The only reason they wouldn't do it is that they genuinely didn't want to do it. They don't have a really need to not do it.
That's true. I mean, I don't have anything against the men who, when they go into the relationship and they tell the woman, you know, I'm here, but I'm going to have many other women on the side. Like, if they go into the relationship saying that, the woman can't be mad. Because if you still decide to be here, then that was your choice. But if he goes into it saying you're the only woman and then decides to have many women on the side, then that's when it's considered, you know, cheating. That's not a polygamous situation, because both parties don't know. In my head, if you consider yourself an alpha male, then you don't have to sneak around. Like, that's nothing that you really have to do, because it's your house, right? You're in charge. You're leading this household, but then again, you're sneaking around with other people. In that sense, you're not an alpha male.
Somebody asked, what do you think, what was I about to ask? Do you think women are the prize or men?
I honestly think that men are the prize. If we're talking, like, if I'm leaning more in a direction, I would say that men are the prize. And I'm not saying that because I don't value myself or anything like that. I really do. And I think that, you know, I have a lot to offer in a relationship. But fact of the matter is, there are more women than there are men. So if we're talking about monogamous relationships, there is not a very high chance that every woman on this planet is going to end up getting married or going to end up in a relationship, like a long-term relationship with a man that's monogamous. And so if you actually end up getting a guy that is like a great guy that wants to be in that monogamous relationship with you, even though I could say that I'm a great girl, I feel like it's easier because there are so many women. Thinking in numbers, because there are so many women, if that relationship didn't work out for me, it would be a bit more difficult for me to find another guy that's a great guy. I think it would be a little easier for him to find another female that's a great female. So, to me, I don't know, isn't it basically 50-50 men to women ratio?
Well, in the black community, it's 2 million more women than there are men.
No.
So, but the reason I said women are the prize, because I looked at it from like a sports perspective. When you grind, like, women in general don't like losers. So, in order to get abundance of them, you have to be a winner. So, if you're a winner, you get the prizes. So, if you look at it like that, then yeah.
So you're looking at it from an object perspective. Women are objects.
I didn't say that. I never said
That's
that.
pretty much what it sounds like. You say, all right, I'm the winner. Where's my prize? You're holding it in your hand.
It's basically like that if you think about it. Because, like, if you don't win enough, if you're not the best team in the league, you're not getting that trophy. That's what it's like in real life.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right. So when women... Fact of the matter, like when women say, you know, I'm the prize here, you should be lucky, whatever. I mean, fact of the matter is you should feel grateful, you know, that you have somebody as great as me. But also I know that, you know, I'm overly grateful as well, you know. But, I mean, yeah. And then it's another thing when women say, well, men and women are equal. Because I've heard that a ton.
That's so... I hate that phrase, because that's kind of like... I'm not going to say it. That's kind of insensitive in a way to, like, the way, like, a boy turns into a man. A boy actually has to, like, really turn into a man. A woman just kind of becomes a woman. Like, a girl becomes a woman. naturally. A boy has to like really grind to get into manhood. So how you gonna say we're equal? Our childhoods aren't equal. Our adulthoods aren't equal. We're only really equal in the sense that when we actually become successful, then we get the privileges you got when you were like naturally a kid.
Are you talking about when it comes to women? Like getting in
A
relationships, or
successful man is kind of equal to an attractive young woman. Kinda.
men and women are not equal. Equal means the same.
I thought you were referring to like privileges. You're referring like life.
I'm referring to just what it is on the surface.
No,
People
they're not
being
equal.
equal, period. Because equal means the same.
Well, woman's life is far less equal. Far. I don't want to say easier, but it is easier. Sorry.
It's well, we have to really clarify what that means.
It's easier. What else can I say?
Well, easier in what way though?
They get more attention. They don't have to work as hard.
So easier in the way of like getting attention, or
And working, like we have to work harder to get the same thing. Doesn't that mean your life is easier?
but working towards what though?
Success, money,
Well,
just to get a family. Like just to if a man wanted a family, just a family, we have to work harder just to get that.
but I think that it's made women have to work hard to get that though.
We have to work harder.
Women have to work hard to get that, period. A woman could actually end up getting married. Many women could end up getting married, but I think the fact of the matter is women have they have very high standards, especially if you're an unattractive woman, but you make a whole bunch of money, your standards are probably much higher than men would see it. Like see your worth,
Okay.
I guess. But either way, their standards are still very high. But when you're looking for a guy that you like really want to be with or whatever, it's difficult because fact of the matter is people say that women have to fight for a relationship. There are so many other
They have
people
to fight for the man they want. They can find a man who will love them and take care of them. They just don't want him. Men literally can't find anybody. That means their life is harder. Like just harder from a statistical point of view. The average man makes like 20,000 more than the average woman. And he still has a harder time than her finding love.
I don't know. Victor, neither can say that men and women I mean, I didn't negate that fact that men and women don't complement each other. They do. That's why we're here.
Yeah, they do, but
That's why we're here, but that's not the conversation.
Man will we just naturally have a harder life. That's just what it is. Even if you think about it from the wall perspective, a woman meets her wall, according to Kevin Samuels. He's the one who created that. Well, she's what, in her early 30s, is it?
Her wall,
when she hits the wall
of not really being able to find a man or whatever. I guess early 30s.
I don't think it's that early. It's probably like late
30s.
But men have two walls. We even have two walls. First, we have to climb the wall to even become sexually attractive to women. Then we get another wall when we get old. So even in that sense, we still have two walls. Everything is like a little harder for men, naturally.
I understand that, but I think that there are also many things that are very difficult for women in the world. Like
protection?
Yeah, protection. That's really hard. It's hard out here for women. I can't just go outside and walk around at freaking 9:00 at night and think that everything is going to be okay. There's so many things as a female that I have to worry about or think about.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah,
so
I have a lot of things that are.
I think in that way, it's much more difficult being a female, but I can also acknowledge that it's easy. It's much easier for women to make money nowadays.
It's still harder for protection for men. I say that because we actually have to fight if we get into something.
Women don't have to fight if we get into something?
Y'all don't have to fight.
What do you mean?
You can call a man.
So if I go outside and I get robbed right now, I'm going to just let them take my stuff?
You're not going to fight a man.
If I go outside and I get robbed right now, I'm not going to try. I'm not going to at least try to get it back. I'm going to just be like, oh no, I'm a woman. I can't get that back.
If someone robbed you at gunpoint, just use common sense. Why would you try to fight them?
Why am I getting... Okay, why is that where we are? That's not the hypothetical. I was talking about being robbed, not at gunpoint, though. Why am I at gunpoint now?
You mean just a random person coming up to you and robbing you?
Yeah, I'm just saying that I'm not going to stand right there and get beat up. Like, we're going to at least try
robbers
to do that.
He's going to try to beat you up?
I don't know if I don't give the stuff to him, but that's not the point. I'm saying that women have to...
That's not reality. I'm sorry.
What do you mean?
That's not real. It's not real life, and a man robber's not gonna come up to you and punch you in the face.
I'm not saying that he's gonna try to punch me in the face. I'm just saying, if you are a man, from what it sounds like, I'm a female, so I'm just supposed to give you my stuff because I see a man in front of me.
Let's look at realistic situations that actually have a chance of happening. That's like a 2% chance of happening.
Like what though?
Like just day to day. Like he said in the chat, men work what 80% of like the dangerous jobs.
Okay.
We actually have to physically train to fight other men for protection.
Yes, and there are many classes that are teaching women how to protect themselves as well. What are you laughing at? Like, it's not real life. It's real life because women go through a lot of this stuff too.
A man has a higher chance of getting attacked by a man than a woman does.
We're looking, okay. The thing is, women have to, like, it's difficult for us as well. I'm not going to talk about who it's harder for when it comes to protection because I feel like it wouldn't, like, what's the point? It's probably difficult for everybody, but I know as a female how difficult it is for...
How difficult it seems.
I know as a female how difficult it is for women when it comes to protection. That's it.
How difficult it seems. I understand. I don't think it's more difficult when it comes to protection for women. If I was to walk outside, I have a higher chance of getting attacked than you do.
We're not going to sit right here and debate this because, whatever, it's not going to make anything...
We can debate it.
It's not going to make anything any different. All that I'm saying is that in that sense of it, we're not going to talk about who it's harder for when it comes to men and women, especially when it comes to like protection, stuff like that.
It's definitely harder for men. I need you to say it.
I'm not going to say that. Like, you know, I'm not going to say that. It's not going to happen. Because I know my experience as a female. I've had guys follow me around. Just follow me around saying mean things because I didn't give them my phone number.
Yeah.
Stuff like that happens to women.
But it's still harder for... Like, that's... Okay, I'm not trying to, like, invalidate your experiences, but... It's still harder. Like I didn't say it's not hard for you. It's just still harder.
Are you only saying that because if something bad happens to a woman, then you assume that a man is going to come to her rescue?
I'm saying a man can come to a rescue. One will be expected to come. If something bad happens to a man, who's expected to help save him? Himself.
I think it's hard for both men and women, but I don't see the purpose in comparing the two. Because it's difficult for everybody. You just want to make a point. You're making a point that I'm not going to understand. I'm not going to fully understand it because I don't know. I don't have that experience because I'm a female. Okay. I'm just saying, all right, whatever.
Yeah, okay. If we're talking literal terms, if it was a fist fight, like between...
How do we get here?
I'm saying like literal, like men naturally are stronger. So technically, if I was to fight a man, then I was to fight a woman. Not saying I ever would. The woman would have a harder time, naturally.
I don't know. I guess I don't really see a point. Jesus said the dangers are different. You may have a higher chance of being involved in physical violence. However, a woman deals with far more than just physical violence on a much broader level.
Are you talking about,
those are facts.
You talking about the R word? Yeah.
We can talk about many different things. It could be physical violence. It could be verbal abuse. It could be many different things. I literally just said.
I'm going specifically on physical violence.
Why is that the tunnel that you decided to go through? That's not even what we were talking about. How do we even get there?
Like verbal violence? I think even men have more chance of being verbally attacked than a woman.
I think that it's become it's become socially acceptable for women to talk to men in a certain type of way. I was watching Fresh and Fit the other day. If y'all don't know them, their content is pretty dope. But I was watching the Fresh and Fit podcast, and they had some girls on there who, like, they kicked them out because the girls were being rude and stuff. And then after they kicked them out, the girls were just like, I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere. Putting their hands on them, hitting them. I think they knocked something in their studio over. They just asked the girls to leave because they were being rude.
One thing women like get a way harder time in is sexual. You know, like that type of abuse. I have it way harder.
I mean, I agree with that. I'm just saying, like, because not trying to go down that tunnel, but when it comes to men and women, when it comes to like verbal abuse, I think because we think that men are, you know, very tough and growing up, you guys are used to taking a lot when it comes like physically. You take a lot and you don't cry about it, you don't show your emotions, so it's become a bit more acceptable for women to talk to men any type of way and not expect any consequences at all. I know people who have keyed guys' cars, like tried to stab their tires, thinking that they're only just gonna get a, man, why you do that? From the guy.
Why do they do that? I don't know. I will say this. If a woman doesn't go down like a traditional like feminine role or like that type of path, her life will get more difficult than a man's. Like as she gets like in the 40s and 50s and 60s.
Do you think so?
I honestly believe so.
I think that a woman will always be protected in some way. I also heard that there are way more, correct me if I'm wrong, but way more women's shelters out there than men's shelters. Like women and children shelters than there are for men.
Forgot about the government. Still.
Yeah, so I think women will always, like, either way, no matter how difficult your life gets, I'm not going to compare with when it comes to men or women because we're different. We go through a lot of things. We go through a lot of hard things, but the things are never going to be equal. They're different.
So it's like, it's just all around the board, like, easier. Dang.
Yeah. It's hard out here. Mental and emotional abuse are different. And for women, it's... Ooh. Yeah.
Torrential downpour and end up...
Feeling like they need a man. Yeah.
That's
true.
They do need a man. They need a man. A man doesn't... Okay. A man doesn't need a woman for himself. He needs a woman if he wants a family in an household. But a woman needs a man.
If we're talking about in the long run, I think that is the case, but I feel like a lot of... If I'm going to play devil's advocate right now, if we're looking at the females that are, you know, in their early 20s who aren't really going through much right now. We all have our struggles and stuff, but if you're in your early 20s, you're still in your prime as a female, and you're making money, in your head, you're not going to think, I need a man right now. That's not anything that you're thinking because you are making money, you're beautiful, you get all of this attention, you can post a picture and get hundreds of likes or comments or whatever. So you're not going to think that you need a man right now. I don't think that mindset is going to come until they get out of their prime years and the men that they once attracted are now looking for women who are like 5 years younger than them or 10 years younger than them. I don't think that they're going to think that they need a man until that point, until like the things that they used to ask, like if you could text the guy in your phone, your food guy, or if you can text the guy that you only talk to take you to places, or the guy that sends you money for your rent or whatever. If you can't text them anymore to ask them for stuff because now they're looking for people who are much younger than you, then it'll click. And then you'll be like, what am I doing? What did I do wrong? Why am I still single and 50 years old or 45 years old or whatever, and with like 3-4 different like baby daddies? Why is this happening to me? At that point, you'll start realizing everything that you're doing by yourself, and you're no longer looking for like those little things like food or money for rent. You're looking for a stepdaddy for your kids, and you're looking for a provider for you because you don't know how to change the smoke detector in your house.
Bro.
Stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, it's a sad reality that we're living in. And I'm not going to sit right here and like talk down on females who want to get on whatever and make money however they make money, because like that's your goal. If your goal is to make money, then you do that. I'm not about to like talk bad on anybody's hustle, you know, but everything in this world has consequences. So yeah, although I feel like there are still men that would marry women who do stuff like that. That's it. That's not it, Sean. It's
Life,
not harder to be a woman.
life for young men is just, it just sucks. Not speaking for me, I'm just speaking for the average young man. It's way worse. Like, way worse than the average young woman. I'm surprised a lot of young men aren't like facing depression, wanting to off themselves, honestly.
Honestly. Malcolm Flex, why do women have a hard time calling out women? What a great question. That's a really great question, because I think that that's something that we're facing at this point, because all you really see is many men making videos calling out women. So I think that it's difficult because I have a hard time with this as well. So I guess I'll comment from that perspective. It's hard because we are so used to lying to each other. And I'm not saying that in a way that it sounds bad actually coming out, but it is what it is. We're taught to, be nice and uplift women. That's, as a female, that's what you're taught. And so if one of my friends said, "Girl, do I look good in this?" but really they don't really look that great in it, that would hurt their feelings. And then that in return would hurt my feelings. And so it's just like, yes, girl, you do you. Yes, you do you. If you feel good in it, then you look good in it. And it sounds bad. And that's something that I'm still working on at this point. But, it's hard. It's a very difficult thing to not do, because we're in an age where like women are kind of being lied to all the time. Guys lie to women all the time. Guys tell women, yeah, you're beautiful. We'll talk about if we can be in a relationship. And you're only there for one thing. So it's kind of...
And?
What do you mean, and?
You know I may lie.
Okay, and I just told you why women do what they do. It's difficult. I'm not anybody that wants to hurt anyone's feelings, but also I try to be like as honest as I can be. So if you're in that way, you're walking around the situation, kind of.
It's really a lose-lose situation, honestly.
You're kind of walking around it like, yeah, girl, if you feel good, you look good, but maybe you should try like something else. And then that may go into, what, do I look fat? Is this happening? And then you go down a rabbit hole that you really just don't want to be in. So it's much easier to say, yes, if you feel good, then you look good. But that, like, lying in itself, that's not okay. And we should be more honest. We definitely should be, especially like from women to women, because if we do continue lying, then it's encouraging women to continue doing what they're doing, and it's kind of going down a path of destruction, and it's not okay. So then when we hear it from a man, it's just like, you're just being a man. You're just talking to me like this because you think you can because you're a man. When in reality, like, that's just what it is. That's just what it is. Men only want... Wait. What in the world? What's going on? I don't know. Naya, why do men get labeled as cheaters when women are more likely to have commitment issues and entertain multiple men during a dating period? Because men get caught. If that's what, like, that's the honest answer at this point. And it's a sad reality. Women probably cheat more than men do, but women don't get caught. I think women are so used to getting attention and so used to being able to juggle multiple guys at once that at some point it's like second nature to talk to many different guys at the same time.
Men could do that too. Women just be snitching. They be snitching on the guys. Guys don't snitch.
Exactly. Guys don't snitch at all. So a guy could probably be sleeping with many different girls and his friends will probably never say anything. His friends are not the ones that he has to worry about. It's the girl that he's doing it with. Because let you not return that girl that you're sleeping with text message that one night, that girl is going to lurk on your Instagram, find your girlfriend, and explain to her everything that's happening with receipts, and you will get caught. Women are very emotional, so men will get cheated on. I mean, men will get, like, exposed.
That's their fault, though. You gonna cheat then?
Women, though, like, let you not respond to the guy. The guy could know you're in a whole relationship. The guy could know you're married. Let you not respond to his text message. He not gonna be like, all right, I'm about to find her husband and expose her.
All right, bet.
Exactly. Like, okay, I guess I'll talk to her tomorrow. That's really what it is. So I think it's easier for women to do it, and I don't think many women get caught. So in our mind, men cheat more because that's what we're talking about. Women cheating is not really a topic.
This whole little gender war,
It's
honestly men's fault.
The gender war is men's fault?
It's Simp's fault.
It's Simp's fault?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. I wonder, how do you guys think the gender war started?
I didn't say started, but it's like, it's continuing because of men. It probably did start from women.
How do you think the gender war started? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because OnlyFans only exists because of simps.
Yeah, that's true, but can we say that OF started the gender war?
No, like the whole thirsting over, like, letting these women basically do whatever they want only happens because of weak men.
Okay, but I don't think that that's when it started. I think that that's just something that's been happening. When did men decide that enough is enough? I'm done thirsting over, like, women who don't deserve it.
We need to decide that because women are never going to be the ones who changes it back. It has to be men.
Well, why would women change it back when it's working in women's favor?
It's not going to forever. It's only working in their favor now because they're in their prime.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Letting women do whatever they want? What do you mean? Naya, should women be more self-aware of how that mindset hurts good men? There are millions of great men that get destroyed by one single woman. And I agree with that. And that's a topic that we should probably talk more about. I know, like, when I first heard somebody bring up the topic of women cheating, I said, why would they talk about, many women don't do that. That's not something that women do. But then I thought about it a bit more, and then I think about, you know, some of the things that I may hear from, like, some friendships that I have or, like, some people that I know, and I hear about some of the things that they do. But if a man were to do it, then we would call it cheating. Like, so, but when women do it, because we are, you know, very friendly and very, you know, nurturing and all that other stuff, it doesn't really, I don't really think that it comes off in the same way that we would probably think that it does when men do it. Men don't let women do anything. I mean, yeah, women, I guess women do what they want to do. Everybody does what they want to do. You do whatever you want to do. as a person. I'm just saying though, as a topic, that's not really anything that's like often discussed. And so we'll say it's very acceptable. I've been to a men are trash party. Like, that's a thing that's actually existed.
That's sad.
And it's not because, you know, I supported, but like, that was my friend. But us even doing that, stuff like that, if there was a women are trash party, the internet would be in an uproar. The internet would be in an uproar because that is not socially acceptable. But it's socially acceptable for us to say that men are trash. And it's not okay. What happens at a men are trash party? Ooh. I mean, you sit around in a circle. Many women sit around in a circle and you talk about, you know, guys and bad things that have happened. I guess you go around the circle and women give their testimonials. And then after giving their testimonials, you may cut up some things, you may throw some things. It's like a very angry, like, thing that's happening, but it's full of like pillow fights and it's
full of
interesting.
fun.
It's like a very
So fun,
interesting
bitter trash,
situation.
pillow.
Oh, Smitty Benzo, salute. Naya and Jojo, loving the discussions. We need more talk and less war. Thank you. We do. I agree. Thank you for that. Like, that is necessary. But as I said, like, if a man were to throw a women are trash party and men go around in a circle and be like, you know what? I'm like this because this girl did me wrong. And they're like, thank you for sharing. And then the next guy goes around and does that. It would be crazy.
So beta.
Yes, but I don't know. Like, I'm just saying, it's if men were to do one thing, then, you know, the world would be in an uproar. Those are called incels. Dang. But men do that at regular gatherings. They don't have to name the party. Men do. They do, because I don't know what happens I don't know what happens in a guy's group chat.
That doesn't happen.
Do guys talk about females
Not
in a group chat? I don't know.
Not in a complaining negative, like.
Because I know what happens in a female's group chat. But does that happen in a male's group chat? Naya, in your opinion, if you were to open a stereotypical man and woman's DMs, what inbox would have more examples of promiscuous behavior? It would be a woman's. And the reason why I'm saying a woman's is because I know women get more attention. But also, I don't know. I actually don't know. I can't answer that confidently. Because I think women will probably get more attention. I think women will get more attention from men in their DMs, but I think that if a man is shooting his shot, if he shot his shot at 10 girls, but 3 girls responded back to him and actually entertained the conversation, I think that that would turn into a very like promiscuous conversation. But from my perspective of the women that I know and like being a female, I don't think that it would turn into a promiscuous conversation if a woman did decide in her DMs to entertain the 3 out of hundreds of messages that she got. I don't think that it would turn into that.
Young people today act like history has never happened. Historically speaking, when have women ever had an easier time than they have now?
When it comes to
anything.
When it comes to anything, that's pretty broad.
When have women, generally speaking, had an easier time than they have right now?
When it comes to making, like, it's...
They haven't. In the past 10 years have been the easiest time for women. I'm sorry. It's just the truth. Y'all vegan.
What are you? Wait.
Men have had
When
it
it
easier
com-
20 years ago.
Women, you said women had it easier.
I said men. This is a harder time for young men than this is the easiest time for young women that has ever been. First of all, social media exists, created by men. Smartphones exist, created by men. That's those are women's main sources of income. Are both created by men. They have the most comfortable living statuses because of men. Y'all saying men have it easier now? Of course, we have more information now, but when it comes to like easier such as social pressures, way higher. You have to make way more to get women now. The standards are way higher for men now, so no, it's not as easy for men as it always been. This now is the easiest time for women that it's ever been.
You have to make way more than women. I can understand the women that you're talking about that do want men to make that type of money, but there are many women who don't care if you're making six figures.
Many. Let's speak about the majority.
Well, I don't know how to find that information. The majority of women want men that, like, ideally, I feel like a woman would want a man, if you could choose, if both men were the same, exactly the same, and you could choose if the man was making $100,000 or making $10,000 a year. Any person would say, if both of them are the same in every single way, you would want the man to be making $100,000. Like, you could say that, but we could also acknowledge that many men are not making that much money.
And many men are alone.
I don't think that they're alone because they're not making six figures.
A lot are alone because they're not making six figures.
Men are alone because they're great guys. They're amazing guys, just this perfect being. But just because he's not making six figures, he's alone.
You have to understand, women's standards. I'm not speaking for. I don't want to sound sexist. I really don't. But a lot of women have like checklists. If you
They
don't
do.
fit, and you know this. If you don't, you're not. You have to separate yourself from this. A lot. Like, think about your friends. Like, they would meet a great guy, and they'd be like, "Oh, he doesn't fit this one specific thing, so I'm not going to talk to him no more." It's really like that. It's like this real life.
All right.
Even though like a lot of like women there's a lot of great women. They will wait for a guy to get there, and the guy may never get there, and they probably won't care. It's a great guy, but a lot, like a majority, won't have checklists. Then they're not playing. They're serious about them checklists.
They do have checklists, and like I've acknowledged that. I said that I was listening to this podcast about this dating coach or this matchmaker, and she was talking about the expectations of women and what they bring to her versus what men bring to her. And for the women, it'll be this long list with a height requirement, of course, salary requirement, like all of these things. And then for a man, it's, I want her to be beautiful and I want her to be friendly.
I can understand like a physical standards. I mean, they're still kind of harsh a little bit, but I understand it. Financial, I really don't get like for a woman to have like super high financial standards. I'm saying this because guys have to build themselves up. Every human has to build themselves up. So for you to just come out the gate like, oh, he has to make six figures when I meet him, I'm like, come on, bro. You at least give cuz some time. You don't even know him yet. Like, you could, if he's making 30K, in the next 2 years, he could be making 200K. You never know. So, like, I don't understand the financial standard.
Well, I don't think that you're giving enough women credit for actually sticking around in those situations, because there are many women who will stick with the guy who's not making any money at all, who probably doesn't even have ambition to make the money.
Well, most.
The thing is, you have to look at what women...
I'm speaking like for the average woman.
But how do you even know that?
They say it. I'm going off of what they say on like YouTube and social media. And like you know those dating shows, women come on all the time. All of them. Like, it's been out of the hundreds that came on, maybe one or two have not said this. So maybe I'm just delusional for going off of what they say. Maybe they aren't the average women. Maybe they're just like all like they're all like crazy. Maybe I'm missing something, but they're all saying this.
I think men and women are different in the way where it's like, men, you believe what they do, not really what they say, for the most part. Men, you believe what they say and not what they do. For the most part, you believe what men say. If a man approaches you or he goes out with you and he says, I do not want a relationship, I'm just looking for something fun, I'm just looking for a good time, that's exactly what he means. And women shouldn't try to change that. But also, when a woman says something, you don't fully believe exactly what she's saying. You believe what she does. Yeah. And so if a woman is saying, I'm not going to support a man, and if you're not making this amount of money, I'm not going to be with you. Those are the same women that will be with men who are making that $10,000 a year and will let him sleep on her couch for 8 years and still support him. So you're like, that's a thing that would still happen.
That's like, Vanaya, I know this makes sense to you, but trying to explain this to a guy, like...
Trying to explain what? What? I don't understand what...
You basically just said, don't trust what we say. We lie all the time.
It's not about lying. It's not about lying. I think we are just very hopeful creatures. We can look at a man and say, you know, I know he said he didn't want to be in a relationship, but I saw the way he looked at me when we were at Taco Bell the other night, and I know he wants to be in a relationship. So I will stick around until he changes his mind.
Oh, Sparkly, don't use euphemisms in here.
I will stick around until he changes his mind. Women can do that.
Understand.
We live in sometimes we may live in a fantasy, but I don't think that...
I get it. I really do.
Yeah, but I feel like if a man were actively looking for a relationship and said, you know what, I'm going to go out and I'm only dating for marriage. If he were to approach a woman and actually build a relationship with her and she said, you know what, I don't really want to get married. I don't even think I want a boyfriend. I just want to have fun. Do you think that he's going to stay around and say, you know what, I will change your mind? Many men won't do that. And we could also try to be hopeful and say many women won't do that if a man said that he didn't really want to be in a relationship. But we don't do that, which is why you should believe what a woman does. If you meet a girl and she tells you, I'm not going to put up with whatever, and if you're not making this amount of money by a certain time, then I'm leaving. But her ex, she said the same thing to her ex, and her ex never had a job. Like, she was pretty much his mother.
Okay, I get what you're saying now. Basically, Vinay is saying, JoJo, women are saying this, but in the actual woman's real reality, outside of words, because you got to believe what they do, they don't do this. So although women are saying they want these things, in our reality, we don't live in the realm of logic. We live in a different realm. So realistically, they don't do it.
You said, wait. Wait, you said women don't live in the realm of logic?
Oh, I didn't mean that to be sexist. I'm saying they don't live in the realm of a guy's logic. They live in a whole different realm of...
I think that there's a communication barrier.
No, I get what you're saying. Basically, don't trust anything these women are saying on these dating shows and talk shows. They're all just lying. Look at what they do.
Did I just say that? Wait.
You kind of just did.
Did I? I'm not saying that women are lying. I'm saying that women are hopeful.
That's euphemism for lies. They're lying.
I didn't say that. Wait, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I think we speak for our future selves. I think we could be in a really toxic relationship and be like, you know what?
I think you speak for the moment self.
I think women speak for their ideal self. We don't speak for where we actually are right now. And so if right now we are supporting a man and where he is or whatever, and he's not ambitious, and we're living in this reality of I'm going to support him for the rest of my life, we don't want to be there. But it's much more difficult for us to break that barrier and actually get to a point in our lives where we genuinely are not going to put up with that. It's easier for us to just stick around and support. But for the next guy, I will tell you I don't want this because currently I have a situation going on that I don't like. But for the most part, if you're cool enough, if you're a good guy, then this may be something that I don't really care that much about.
Okay. I understand. I really do. It's a different type of thinking.
I mean, I don't know. Objectively, good men like myself are single and emotionally detached because we aren't interested in competing with OF and alpha men. Simply because we don't lower our standards. Because you guys don't lower your standards? Or you aren't trying to change to compete with alpha males and females on OF. I don't know. But I think that, I mean, I don't know. I think that there are lots of different things and different reasons why women may not be in a relationship or may still be single. And part of that reason may just be because there is a communication barrier. I think it's much easier for modern guys today to not wife anybody. Because as you said, you don't need women. So if you truly feel like that.
No, what I was saying is we don't need them for ourselves. If we want a family, we 100% need women.
Okay, but I'm saying in the sense of marriage and relationships.
Yeah.
You don't have to get into a relationship. But most women will probably make...
You kind of do. If you want a child, children are... You don't need to get in a relationship to raise a child, but that helps the child.
Most women will probably make a dating app to find a husband or a boyfriend.
They're not gonna make it.
Most men will make a dating app, correct me if I'm wrong, for something completely different, not for a relationship. So I think women are actively trying to do that, but I also feel like men are in a different space in their lives right now. There's so many options. And you acknowledge that there are more women than men. And you acknowledge that times are easier now to get what you want from a woman than it was back then.
No, times are harder to get what you want from a woman.
Times are harder now to get what you want from a woman than it was back then?
Mm-hmm.
What? I don't agree with that.
I can explain it.
Why do you think that?
Well, if you really think about it, like factor in social media. The average woman has social media, meaning the average woman has more options, basically. And women are naturally promiscuous, so they want the highest value man. Not promiscuous, I didn't mean that. Hypergamous.
Okay.
They're naturally hypergamous. Like, that's just by nature. They want the highest value man they can get. So when they have social media, they're getting hundreds of men pursuing them. They think these men want them for relationships, but they really don't want them for that. So when they're pursuing them, they assume you can't control it. They assume that they're attracting these high value men for mating, like for relationships, but they're not. So they only see these high value men instead of all the hundreds of other men like pursuing them. And since they're on social media, they're already like around more men in general. So they're around all the high value men. They're around all the other men. So the other men get like drowned by the high value men. So if you're the average guy, if you don't have like the blue check mark, or you're just not like the man, the women aren't gonna see you how they probably would have seen you 30 years ago when social media didn't exist.
I could see what you're saying, but I also think, like Pickard Harris said, all you have to do is go on their Instagram and you get to see all you wanted. That stuff.
Oh, you mean like see them? Like, what are you talking about?
I think in all ways, when it comes to you getting what you want from a female, it's easier nowadays. It's much easier because, like, as he said, back then on social media, it was crazy if somebody's pictures got leaked or whatever.
You're talking about like virtual stuff?
I'm talking about like everything, but I'm talking about this specifically right now. It was crazy if anything got leaked or whatever. Now people are leaking themselves. It's much easier for you to go on their page and see that type of stuff. And as I said, I'm not talking down on it. You do whatever you want to do. However, like, it's easier if that's something that you chose to do, then that's something that men now have. And that they're seeing on social media. Now, when it comes to, like, having sex and stuff, when it comes to stuff like that, now you have all of these dating apps. It's easier because you have all of these dating apps.
And I'm telling you, it's not easier.
Jojo, I understood what you're saying. But what I'm saying is, now you have all of these dating apps. I don't know how it is as a guy to get women, but I know that you could sit down and shoot your shot at 20 women, and there is a chance that at least 3 of them will respond to you. If you didn't have an app, or like all of these choices to talk to women or whatever back then, because there are way more now than there were back then, you didn't have that, so that's one less choice or option that you have to get something that you want from a woman. Although women do, I'm not going to deny that women go for like 5% of guys, the same 5%. I'm not going to deny that, but I'm also not saying that I don't agree that men who are not a part of that 5% is still not able to get something that they want from a woman easier today. I don't agree with that.
Well, you say you don't agree with that men have it harder to get what they
I
want.
don't agree that men have it, that men don't have it, that is not difficult for men to get what they want today. It's probably difficult, but I think it's easier than it was before.
Okay, I respect your opinion, but I'm telling you, it's not easier. There was an experiment. A woman pretended like she was a guy on Tinder, and she DM'd like 100. She was pretending like she was a guy, and she DM'd like 100 women. Or was it 1,000? It was like 1,000 women. Like 3 or 4, like really responded and got back to him. 1,000. 3 divided by 1,000. You say if a guy DMs 20 women, 3 will get back to him. That's too high. Maybe 3 out of 70 or 80. Because you got to think, the women on these apps, it's still they all want the same type of guy. It's not like they like have the standards are like fluctuating. No, it's pretty steady. They all prefer the same type of guy, and they all see the same type of guys. So if you're the average guy, you see the women on here, but your chances of actually getting them is much lower because they see the guy they see the Drakes and the rappers. They're all on the same app. Back then it wasn't like that. So I see what you're saying. They have a higher chance of like seeing, like being around the women technically because they're.
You have a higher chance for an opportunity.
Yeah, you do.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's always going to hit, but I'm saying that you have a higher chance for an opportunity, which in my mind, a higher chance for an opportunity means a higher chance for execution. If you have a higher chance for opportunity, then you may have a higher chance to actually get to where you want to be. Even if it's still low, I think it's easier, a bit easier in the sense where you're able to place yourself in these situations. You're able to place yourself in front of these females and do what you need to do to get whatever you want to get, if that's your goal. But that's all that I'm saying. I still think it's difficult for men to do that. But yeah, I'm not mad. As I said, I'm not mad that women are having their
Why would you be
fun
mad?
in the sun.
It doesn't really affect you.
I mean, I understand that. I'm saying like
I don't
because
think
somebody
most guys are mad
commented, it was just like
I don't think anyone should be mad. I mean, it's just life.
somebody commented, and I think they said something about like being upset because women are now getting their like time in the sun or whatever. Fun in the sun. As I said, I'm not mad. I'm not gonna sit right here and hate on anybody because if that's what you gotta do to, make your money, or if that's what you're doing because you actually enjoy it, it is what it is. It doesn't affect me. But I'm talking about everything on like the broader sense of it.
I'm not really mad. I'm not mad at all. I just kind of feel bad because like a lot of these women are eventually, I'm not speaking for all of them, but a lot, like we were just talking about Rihanna the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Like eventually she's going to want a man. Like she's going to want a man. And a lot of these women do want a man. Like if you watch Kevin Samuels,
Mm-hmm.
they be like 35 and 40 calling saying they want a man. And it makes me feel bad, honestly, because like it's not like they did anything wrong if you think about it. They're not intentionally saying, I hate you, I hate men, I hate you. No, they're literally just going to school, getting money, and in theory, it sounds good. Like, it's like You're going to school, making a career yourself, and eventually you want to have a family. It's just that biology isn't on your side. So when you try to get the man, like your hypergamous nature, you want to date up. That's how God made women. It's not like we can change that. We can't blame women for wanting to date up. That's just how they are. So
Yeah.
when they try to exercise their hypergamous nature and they can't because they did something wrong and they don't even know what they did wrong, I literally feel bad because like all they did was go to school. They really tried to make a good life for themselves and it bit them in the butt. And it kind of makes me feel bad in a way.
Yeah, like that's exactly what it is. I'm not mad. Like women who are out there getting their PhDs and all this other stuff, that stuff is dope. And talking down on women who want to be successful and who are very educated
Yeah.
is something that like I'm not here for, you know, because that like I believe in higher education as well. So what I'm saying is I think that there is that barrier though. I really do think that there's a barrier there because let's say that you are working towards this, but you're not, you know, prioritizing getting a man and then you're going through all of this time being like pursuing your field or being focused on you and then you hit like 35, 40, then at that point in time you're wondering, well, I did everything right. I went to school, I'm making money, I have my own house, now I'm ready to get into a relationship. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. However, women, we do have that biological clock. And I think in our minds, because I think like this too, I think like very step by step. Like, I want to do things right. And if we're thinking that, in our heads, we're thinking, okay, well, you go to school, you get to where you want to get, you make that money, you get to where you want to get in your career, and then you can focus on other stuff later. And I think now men are saying that's not how it works because we only really date women who could do this, who are in this age range, and or preferably in this age range who look like this. And once you cross that threshold, then you're no longer desirable to us. A lot of this news is something that was new to me that I didn't know was happening until guys started making content about it. And I'm thinking like, what the heck? That's a real thing? Like,
it's kind of like, it's very, I do think guys have it like harder, but like life is kind of cruel to women in a way that it's not cruel to men. Because if you think about it, our life may be harder to me, but at least we have the chance to really boss up. Women have the chance to boss up, but when it comes to relationships and what guys want, we don't really give them the chance after a certain period of time to boss up. We don't give it to them. Like, they will give a guy, like, if we don't get guys when we're 15, 16, we can get them when we're 35 or when we're 25. A woman is not the same because men don't give them that opportunity the way that guys are given that natural God-given gift.
yeah. Yeah. So in that way, it's so many things that now in our minds, now that we're seeing all of this other content happening, and I'm saying we're as, you know, women as a whole, with when women as a whole are seeing this type of stuff, at this point, now we're starting to feel that fire under our butts because we're thinking that everything is going well and things are going as right as they could be. And now you're 28,
It's kind of wild.
where you are in your career, and they're telling you should have started 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And you're thinking like,
I'm telling you, bro.
I didn't get the PSA.
I think women are naturally more empathetic, but I'm telling you, bro, guys are kind of not. When it comes to certain things, we really aren't. If we when they say they want this,
That's what they want.
So-
There's no leeway. There's nothing else. This is what I want. Exactly.
like a woman says, okay, a guy has to be a certain height and make a certain amount. They will lean on that a little bit. Guys, we're not the same. We'll say, okay, we're getting this. You not have it next. Oh, none of you have it. Fine, we'll die alone, and it'll be fine. But it's just not the same when it comes to women. Like you said, they like change up a lot of times. Guys really don't change up, really.
Yeah, guys, like you'll say that you want something exact and you will not, like you'll wait until you get that. You could be single and lonely or whatever, but if you do have it in you, like if you do have whatever it is that those guys have where they're like so definite, You could be sad or whatever because you just want a girlfriend, but you're not going to settle for anything that you don't want. And that's it. So you will go your life just doing or having whatever you already have. Aside from having a girlfriend, you will wait until you actually get that person. You'll probably sleep with other people, but you're probably not going to wife them. Girls, though, there are things that we could, give up. If you don't have it, then we can look past it. And that's it. Like, we're not just going to sit right here. And in many ways, girls will settle for guys just because they don't want to be alone.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, that's really one thing that really hurts a lot of women and like helps a lot of men. Time. Like, we have way more time to get what we want. I don't think a lot of like women have as much time as us. That's the one thing that really, like, what's the word, like, disproportionately helps men over women. Like, we may have it like have to do more to get something, like technically do more, but we have way more time to do it. We can be 35, 36, 37 and find a wife. Women do not have that privilege
exactly.
At all. Guys, we don't give them that privilege. They kind of give guys that privilege.
Exactly. Thank you, Andrew. To be honest, I feel like that's not settling until a guy gets what he wants. Gets what he wants is an evolutionary trait. Like that, not settling until a guy gets what he wants. Oh, not settling until a guy gets what he wants is an evolutionary trait.
Yeah. We have way more time. It's just... And it really does suck because when I see these like older women calling saying they still didn't find a man yet, it really does like make me feel really bad because I know how guys think, and I know that she's gonna have a really hard time. She's gonna have an almost impossible like veteran difficulty finding the guy she wants because I know how we think. So it makes me feel bad.
Yeah, and it makes me feel bad as a female because I understand how women, especially women nowadays, where you are that boss babe and all this other stuff. Like, I have a lot of, like, you're working your butt off. You didn't do anything wrong. In your head, you didn't do anything wrong. But now men are saying, like, how do y'all not know what we want? And I feel like genuinely women didn't know.
Yeah, I feel
this is what you wanted.
I feel like they didn't know. Oh, you can continue. My bad.
So, like, you're thinking that you're doing things right, and then you hit a certain number. You're just like, when did you say that you wanted that? Especially if you grow up in a household full of, like, women. If you grow up in a household full of women, and let's say these women were done dirty by guys that they settled for, and that they, protected and catered to and took care of, and were done dirty by them, do you honestly think that these women are going to promote like men in the household? Now, there could be some cons to that, of course, but you cannot you can't honestly say that it doesn't make any sense that this stuff isn't promoted. In their heads, they're thinking, all right, if I have a daughter, your priority, because if they're this woman whose priority was to find a man early, and they did that and they were done dirty, when they have a daughter, do you think that their priority is for their daughter to do the same thing that they did? In their head, it's, I'm going to do the complete opposite. Because that's what happens when you're going through all of these different types of generations and stuff. Things didn't work at first. And as a kid, you think, I'm not going to do that when I got my family. Like, I'm not going to do that when I have a kid. And then you do something different. No parent is perfect, but like, we're all human, and you're going to see something that didn't work in your household, and you're going to be like, all right, I'm not going to do that. So my daughter is going to not focus on a man, but she's going to focus completely on her education, and she'll have her own. So if she does end up finding a man and it doesn't work out, she'll still be happy. I don't think that is wrong.
Yeah, I don't think either side should be demonizing the other side. Because I understand it's probably easy for a lot of guys to demonize women, and it's probably easy for a lot of women to demonize guys, but I just think there's honestly a language barrier. Because if you watch, like, the Kevin Samuels shows and the Fresh and Fit, you ask these women what they want, they may be saying around the same thing, but they genuinely do not know that, like, the percents of all of it. They genuinely just desire this. So, like, you can't be mad at them. Like, it's not like they like went out there and went and said, "Ha ha, I hate you."
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing this up. We need good Bible thumping ladies to put these men in line. There is an attack on us all.
It's just like a language barrier. I mean, a communication barrier.
What are your thoughts on the effects of texting language replacing face-to-face conversation? That is a great question because there are so many things that are affecting. This is another thing that I think is affecting people being single, period, or marriage probably dying in the future because we are so used to communicating through text or communicating through like social media or whatever, where you don't have that face-to-face interaction. We're becoming socially awkward, and we really just don't know how to talk to each other. So there's never even a chance, even if I'm thinking, okay, well, now that this conversation is on the forefront, when, let's say you get in person with somebody, like in person with a girl, and you decide to have this conversation, do you really think that is going to go well, especially if she's like really big on social media, really big on just communicating with you through text message or whatever, not really having that face-to-face interaction while having like competing views on this type of subject,
Bro,
being single?
it will go
That's
fine.
not going to go, huh?
It'd go fine if you say if you're okay. I just think because I grew up with two sisters and like a how do I put this? A very opinionated mother. I know how to like say something without it offending, but a lot of guys may not. Like if I was to talk to a girl, say okay in person. In text message is different because like you can't really set tone in text. But in person, you can say, okay, that's not what guys want. You can, like, kind of tell her without really being a jerk about it. Sometimes I don't feel like it, though. Sometimes I just like, okay, no, this. But you could if I really wanted to. Guys just don't care enough to do that. I'm not going to cap. They just don't care enough.
Well, even if you're not having a conversation, let's talk about something on a broader spectrum. You just meet somebody through Instagram, and then you actually decide to meet up with them. Having a conversation with this person in person looks different than it used to. When we were used to actually meeting people in malls, at the park, at like gatherings or whatever that weren't the club, that's not what I'm talking about, but when you're used to being in so many social settings in person, then it's much easier to develop that communication skill when you're face to face with someone, rather than you swiping, having conversations with lots of different people, being really big on social media, only talking to people through your comment section, and then somebody's like, all right, I actually want to take you out on a date. You're sitting face to face with them at IHOP, and you're just staring at each other. It's like,
what's up with you?
So I saw that picture on Instagram. It's like, yeah.
She be like, yeah.
I saw you liked it.
Making boomerangs.
Honestly, making boomerangs, just taking pictures.
It's FaceTime now, honestly.
Taking selfies, whatever. And the time that even when they put their phone down, and it's just like, so what do you like to do for fun? What do you like to do?
Don't ask me that.
Then you leave the date and your friends ask you, girl, how was it? He don't even talk. He's not interesting. He's not funny. And the same thing for the guys. But it's like you didn't talk about anything.
Okay, is there anything, is society just going down? Is there anything good that's happening? There gotta be something. People are getting smarter.
Yeah.
Kinda.
People are getting smarter in what way? In which way are people getting smarter?
We can do more in less time.
That is true. We're a very microwave society. Microwave society is also not a great thing, though, because in that way, when it comes to dating, you think that things are supposed to happen instantly, right there. When you sit down with this random guy at IHOP, you're supposed to feel that magical spark, and then you're supposed to have those topics pop up right off the table for you to talk about. But because dating is actually real with real people, but we don't live in that reality, overall, it's not going to go well.
The only thing keeping the violence at bay is the economy. The only thing keeping the violence at bay is the economy, because no one really cares about each other anymore.
That is true. Everybody's for self. Everybody's for self, and I think that we can all agree with that.
Thank you, Andrew, for the super chat.
Thank you.
Your first one ever.
I don't think that there's anything. Oh, thank you, Andrew. I don't think that there's anything wrong with you getting what you want. With you getting what you want from people.
I just think
there's a difference though between doing that and using people for whatever you want and trying to manipulate them to just get that one thing. Like, we don't have very genuine relationships with people anymore because social media, I don't think, is really genuine. You could be rooting for, like, you could be following one person, think that they're the greatest person ever. Let something come out about something that they did 32 years ago, real tiny, and you cursing them out and wishing that they never existed. We're so flip-floppy. It's crazy.
I think there are a few genuine communities, like the LFR Discord. It's very genuine. Y'all need to join it if y'all haven't joined it.
Y'all do. I'm going to drop... Well, I got the link, too. Oh, that's not even my phone.
But...
Dang. Can somebody drop the LFR Discord link in there? But, yeah, divorce rate in the 50s was 3%. 97% stayed married. Now it's the exact opposite. Right. People getting divorced left and right. But why do you think that is? Why do you guys think that people are getting divorced so much? I feel like...
It's two things.
What do you think?
Men are becoming weaker. Women are becoming more manly.
Okay, so we're talking about a weak man and a manly woman marrying each other? That's why?
That's going to lead to more divorces.
But I don't think that that's happening.
I think it is.
Well, who was that? Who was it? Basketball player.
I know how women
Gabrielle
think.
Union.
I really do know how women think, bro. They look at a guy and they think he's going to act a certain way. Because of how he looks, and when he doesn't act that way, it really throws them off. Because he doesn't fit the imaginary man in their head. He acts like a completely different guy, and that really irritates them. And they don't know what it is, but eventually they're going to get tired of him acting like that guy that they didn't want him to act like, and they leave.
That is true. But who is that guy though? Basketball player. Dwayne Wade. Are you talking about relationships like that? Because I don't see them getting divorced anytime soon. I think that sometimes that works for people.
No, I'm not talking
about
that.
He said, and what I'm talking about is like Dwayne Wade said that Gabrielle Union is the leader in their relationship. Like, she's pretty much what the man's traditional role. In my head, that's what I got from it. She is the head of the household.
We'll see if they get divorced. I don't think a lot of women.
Why do you think that would be the case? Do you feel the same way about Sierra and what's his name, Russell Wilson, where he put Sierra on this pedestal? Do you think that there's anything wrong with the man doing that in his relationship and feeling like, my woman is in charge? If that works for them,
kind of depends. Then
I don't think that is what is causing the.
That's like a very rare situation. I think in the average relationship, a lot of guys just aren't as manly. I'm not even finna cap, bro. A lot of guys just aren't as manly as we used to be. Testosterone levels have dropped over the past few years, and a lot of women aren't as feminine as they used to be. So it's kind of, society's in a weird space. Everything's mixing together. And women, I think women deep down are very traditional when it comes to relationships. They just don't want to say it. They still want the same traditional guy. But when guys don't fit that standard, it really kind of throws them off sometimes. So it kind of throws off relationships.
I agree with that. However, people can't get divorced if they're not married. What got you to get married and what is causing people to get divorced? That's my question.
Well, what do you mean?
Because the divorce rate is really high nowadays. The divorce rate is huge. So there is an equal chance, from my understanding, an equal chance of people staying together and getting divorced in your marriage. But you have to get married in order to get divorced. What got you guys to getting married, and what is causing you to get a divorce? Because I don't think that there are many, in my mind, are there many beta men and alpha women? You knew that you were a beta man, and you knew the woman was an alpha woman, whether anybody had to say it, when you got married. I don't envision the man switching up and being like, I'm an alpha now, you're an alpha too. That doesn't work. We're getting a divorce. I don't see that happening. I feel like the biggest reasons or causes for divorce is, as Louie said, people care more about rushing to that beautiful marriage. And I know this is going to make a great storyline on whatever reality show I'm on, or I know people are going to love my pictures of my wedding. So let's hurry up and rush into this and get married. Then you get married, the wedding is over, and now you realize that you actually committed yourself to this person for the rest of your life. I think that's the one, because people do stuff for clout. Like, people do stuff. There are many friend groups where every girl is married. Is every girl just randomly, like, all the girls are just wifeable? Or do girls get into relationships, settle with a guy that they don't really like? They know that he's going to marry them, though. They rush into getting married because all of their friends are married. And now you realize that you have to spend the rest of your life with this guy. You try. It doesn't work out. And then you leave him. Because another thing is, don't most women file for divorce? Between the man and the woman. The woman is the one that's filing for divorce, which is why men don't want to do it, because it's more of a liability. Because for the most part, we're very finicky. That's really what the situation is.
What are the benefits?
I think there are many benefits to getting married. I say that to say there are so many benefits to getting married. No, that sounds crazy, but I do think that there are many benefits to getting married. Saying that after everything I just said, though, doesn't make any sense.
What are the benefits? Just for the guy.
I think, you have a kid. I think it's better for you to raise, like, ideally, I would want to raise my kid in a household where, like,
just for the guy, like, forget the kids.
What do you mean?
Like, for me.
Without kids?
Like, what are the benefits for me, not for my child who grew up better in a two-parent household? For me, what do I gain?
Lifelong partner and commitment. What are you laughing at?
Okay, that's good. I'll give you that.
Yeah, you get that partner and lifelong.
That was funny. That was good. I think that's a benefit.
I don't know. I think it's okay for things to be...
I should probably be like, nah, that's not... Like, nah, that ain't it. Is it a tax break?
I think it's okay for things to be easier for women at the moment. It wasn't easier for them anytime in the past. Things are okay. Are things not okay? Are things not okay? I said things were okay. I think it depends, though, on whatever your version of okay is. Whatever the woman's version of okay is, then things are okay. Because now we don't have the excuse of not knowing what men want and not knowing how to get into a marriage. We don't have that excuse anymore. Guys have given their PSA. So if you're wanting that, then you don't really have much of an excuse anymore. And you have that way to move forward. I don't think that there's much that isn't, like, okay with that.
I think a lot of women probably think guys are going to change for them, but I feel bad for them. I really do, because that's not happening. And for them to even think that is very unfortunate.
You said women what?
Like, a lot of women think, like, oh, a guy's going to wait until you get your PhD when you're 33 to have kids. That is never going to happen. Even though your intentions are good, because I have a lot of girlfriends who are like, oh, they're not having kids until they're 30. I'm like...
I think that if a man really loves a woman, he will wait for her to do whatever she wants to do. If he really loves her,
Let me think
he
about
may
this.
wait. Because men say all the time, it's so hard to find a good woman. You find a good woman and you may wait for her. And honestly, what would you need to wait for? You could still get married while she's getting her PhD. You could still do that. What are you waiting for exactly? I don't understand what the wait is for. Only men with no options will wait. What is a man with options? Do most men have options like that? Because when you say men with options, what exactly does that mean? Are you talking about the 5% of men? Because we can talk about that, but I'm talking like realistically for the average guy.
We don't even look at the average guy. So when you talk about dating, we have to talk in the context of the 5% guy.
Why are we talking about the 5% guy when he's 5% of guys?
Because women only date that top percent. They don't date the average guy.
Yes, that's why we're talking about the guys who are not that 5%. Because
So
I don't think
the context of dating, we can't talk about the average guy. The average guy is not dating.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't think that women want the 5% of men. They want that. But what are they dealing with? What are they getting? Let's look at that. They get in situationships with who? Men guard.
That alpha.
No. Men guard the right. Men guard the door to the relationship. Women guard the door to sex. They're only in that situationship for the most part because he hasn't offered to be her boyfriend.
50% of guys are dating. It's like 10%, 20 maybe.
What does dating even mean nowadays? What does that even mean? Like situationships or talking? Like talking to many different people. I think most guys are doing that.
If we're talking about the context of dating, we cannot talk about the average guy. The average guy is not dating anybody.
What do you mean? Yes, they are.
No, they aren't. Okay, let's ask them.
Is the average guy dating? Or is it only the 5% of guys? Because I think we're talking about women want that 5%, but are they getting that 5%? Women are still dating. They're not dating themselves.
Is the average guy dating, y'all?
Dating is a broad term. I was thinking of single guys meeting up with women, say once or twice a year. What? I think JoJo got lost in the world of online.
I don't use social media that much. It's a very ignorant comment.
I think that most people are
Statistics
doing
show
that.
Young people under 30 are having way less sex than any previous generation on record.
Why does it have to be about sex? Why can't it just be about, having good conversation?
2 dates in a year is an exciting year for me. I don't know if you're one.
What? Wait, maybe
men can't even get a match on Tinder. Women are sharing the same small pool. Like I said, the average guy is not dating. Like I said. So we're talking about dating. We have to speak in the context of 10% of guys. That 10%.
All right. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not going to sit right here and say everything that I say is fact. I can acknowledge when I'm not correct.
What were we even
I
talking
just
about?
thought. I don't know what we were talking about, but guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. What are some other things that we could talk about? What are like some other topics?
88% of men were unattractive to women on dating apps. Of course they were.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Jesus
the world of
Christ.
18 and 30-year-olds doesn't define men. Yeah. This was a pretty interesting conversation. I learned a lot. I actually learned a lot. I think things that I guess are not completely reality. So, yeah. Either way, comment down below some other things that we can talk about. And thank you for watching. Later.